So good evening, everybody. This is Noreen McClendon again. Welcome to Free to Heal, where we come together every week and we try to heal the ravages of mass incarceration. Whether you're formerly incarcerated, a family member, loved one, or just somebody who has a heart and understands the challenges for people who have been incarcerated and you want a better community. I've never been in a community that didn't have some residue or side effects from mass incarceration. Everybody's affected by it. White collar, blue collar, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the income range. Everybody knows somebody that's been incarcerated. In fact, we just had a former elected official just get served with 42 months. He gonna go to prison. He ain't no thug. He ain't no none of that. But he going to prison. So what goes around it doesn't skip anybody necessarily. Because of that, I just find that I'm passionate about us being able to heal. And one of the things that we don't often talk a lot about, but it's real, and I think we breeze over it. It is a term we use, but we never delve into how do we handle that, and that is stress. So stress can come from any number of places for any number of reasons.
People, places, things, it don't matter.
Look at that reaction, right? So I guess I'm going to take that to mean that you all understand what I'm talking about, because it's been a lot of stress, a lot of stress going on. And the question becomes, what do we do about that? How do we process the stress that we have? Because guess what? We can respond to stress in a couple of ways. There's more than one way that we respond to it, and everybody responds to it differently. But you may see people who become angry and agitated when they're under stress, and they blow up at people. Everything you say, they're snapping at you. Some people get quiet. Some people eat. There are any number of ways that people address the stress that comes up in their lives. And then the other thing too that I think is important is that I think really is helpful is to deal with the self-inflicted stress. Things that we stress about that we really is not our responsibility, but we take those things on and we begin to take responsibility for them and act like it's our job and our responsibility. Hi. And in reality, it's not. So those are things, they're self-inflicted wounds. Okay. And so, hi, how are you? Good to see you. So these are the things about stress that I think are important that I want us to talk a little bit about, because first of all, how do you manage your stress? What are the things that you do that help you to manage your stress? But before we even get to that, what are some of the things that actually stress you out? What are some of those things? What things? And I want to answer because everybody gets stressed out. Di, let's start with you.
Okay. What's the most thing that's stressing me out is the situation that I'm in right now with these 3 children. And because it's something that needs to be done, but I don't want to do it. So for me to do it and not really want to do it, to manage that, I went and got a job to keep me with something else to think about all day, to sit up and think about all the things I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. I got a job around kids, and everybody know I don't too much like kids, but it's still something for me to do for my mind. Just won't sit and wonder on all the negative things I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So it helps me cope a little bit with them, because I know they're all around situation. Since people just know the outside situation, I know the whole full circle situation. And when you know the whole full circle, it makes it a little bit harder on a person like me, because, you feel like, dang, if I don't, then who will? Yeah. So your hands is like tied. with some tape, and then with some rope, and then with some chains, and you're like, this kind of hurts a little bit. So I just have to always try to look at the most positive thing for them. What's the best thing for them? So that's how I started looking at what's the best thing for them. I know the best thing for me, but what's the best thing for them?
Yeah, and it really is hard because, despite you saying that you don't really like kids,
yeah,
that hasn't been my experience with you over over almost 20 some years.
But you got to remember, I'm okay. Listen, I can get along with everybody, anywhere, anytime. I'm good at that. But you got to remember, I have my own kids, so I had a lack of time where I didn't have no kids around me. Mm-hmm. So certain things I don't like. Certain things it bothers me a little bit more. You got to remember, my baby is 32 years old. My baby is 32. So noise, acting like you don't listen, me have to keep repeating myself, See, a lot of things I don't, I tell them all the time, I was raised different from you, and you was raised different from me. The things you understand, I don't. The things I understand, you don't. I'm trying to make all of this work inside of this square in this circle for all of us. So I try to talk to them as best I feel they can understand me, and I try to let them talk to me where I can understand them.
But see, the thing with you too is that you're always compassionate about children, and maybe so that's the thing. So it's like maybe that's what I pick up versus like, because I think I would venture to say that might be some way that we're actually alike, Diane, because I'm very sensitive to the needs of children. Yes. And all that, but to say that that's my favorite population, not necessarily so.
That's what I mean. Like I said, I know the full work. Yes, it's past work because my baby is 32.
Yeah.
He's 32. When the last time I picked somebody up from school?
Okay.
When the last time you know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's a lot. Tony back at him. Come here, Tony. You gotta come close enough so they can hear you.
What she say?
Tony. Tony said, I can't stand kids.
Okay, high five, boo. That's why she's my sister.
But she don't know if she wants y'all to really hear her or not, but she said she can't stand kids.
Yeah, it's not like these kids nowadays are nothing like the way we was brought up. They don't have an understanding like we have an understanding. We already knew what the rules was. We knew exactly what the program was. We knew exactly what we had to do. No matter what was going on, you knew exactly what you needed to do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Every day I got to come in here and ask the dumbest question to me. To me, it's dumb. Everybody did what y'all needed to do. And Jacob, he has his favorite. If you don't move, I'm gonna hit you. His favorite line is, "The house already clean." Oh, okay. I said,
"Don, but that's because you have to clean it regularly."
Yeah, but I mean, sit down and have that conversation at the table. I don't have a problem with talking. You know what I'm saying? So I say this all the time: if you make sure your chores are done, the house will always stay clean, like it needs to be clean. Right. Like I tell them, my mama always say, "You never know who might have to bring you home."
Right? So, ain't that the truth?
Yeah,
wait, that was right along. That was right up there along with you always wear clean underwear in case you ever have to go to the hospital, right?
Exactly. You never know what might.
You'll never leave home with no dirty underwear.
Yeah, like I told him, I was raised in a different era from y'all. Yeah, you never know.
But wait, what's funny to me when I think about that is, but if I go to the hospital, what they doing in my underwear? Okay, but if they gotta go in my underwear, something really, really bad with me anyway. So
exactly.
But it's just funny to me that that's literally, but I won't leave home with no dirty underwear though. Period.
Exactly.
Because
for sure.
Because it was so. What's that?
Don't matter. If I leave home with clean underwear,
right?
When I got in my motorcycle accident, I could swear that I had dirty underwear.
Underwear that are clean. So they can see before that.
Exactly. You started off clean.
Caring about my underwear, they were trying to cut off all my
everything. Right. See, that's what I be thinking, right? They was cutting stuff off.
They was cutting it. What nobody saying?
I wanted to cut that piece that's clean so I could know that it was clean. I don't matter.
Y'all know I listen to my mama.
I mean,
exactly.
They were clean underwear when I got the motorcycle.
So much for that. So much for that after that point. But the thing again, though, I think with I think that your compassion tends to come through when you're dealing with the children.
Mm-hmm.
Why you take on so much, and why even when your kids were little, your house was full of kids.
Yeah, always.
But
My
that's why I
cousins
said to
come to the
me,
house.
over almost
Yeah.
20 years, I can't even like, really, you didn't like, but I understand what you're saying. It's
She
like,
was the fun mom,
well, no,
Yes.
not necessarily. She was the loving mom. She was the
Yes.
loving, providing. It was safe at her house mom.
Yeah, there's a program called 16 Personalities. And I bet you if she took the personality challenge or test, she would come out as an advocate. Because I came out as an advocate, and I can't stand people.
Okay.
I can't stand people.
Yeah, but you are an
I can't
advocate.
stand
No,
kids.
yeah. No.
I can't, but if you're doing somebody wrong, yesterday I was driving, coming out of the store, and I saw a little boy square up with an older man, and I looked and saw the boy took his shoes off. It was 4 little boys, and he took his shoes off, and the definition in his face. The cars was behind me, and I was like, go around, and I couldn't get the cars to go around. I looped around in that parking lot and parked in handicap and got out my car to see what was going on. It's not, and the kids could have been bad, but it was just the point. And so the advocacy in me is what is, drawn to, because I mean, I have 25 cousins, and I can tell you right now, if they pull up to my house, I'd be like, what you motherfuckers is doing over here? And they'd be like, oh, that's
what do you want? What do you need? Why are you here?
Mamas, go home to your dad.
They're not going home. They keep coming to your house, don't they?
They keep coming, and I'll be like, I couldn't be meaner than Aunt Esther, and you won't go home. Go the fuck home.
Let me tell you the other thing that Tony will do. That is
there's advocation there. I'm an advocate,
and you also feed. So
that's my problem.
We all know when you bring in strays, right? Whether they cats, dogs, people, boys, girls, men, women. When you feed them, they coming back.
Yeah, but that's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy, me. I make sure that, like when my boys were small or young, coming up and all that, when they had all their little partners and friends, I always at my house because my cousin called my house the refugee camp. I didn't have a problem with giving them, extending them the love that I gave to my kids, because to me, something was inside saying this is what they needed. Right. So whatever I gave to my kids and took my kids, explored with my kids, did with my kids, they explored it and did it too. But now, like I said, when Sean is 32, and all of a sudden I got plot with this right here, it's like, wait a minute, I got to start all over.
Right. Yeah.
I got to start all over.
And then also on top of that, those children did not grow up in your home. So
right
to this point, so you haven't trained them
to
function the way that works for you.
I want to say one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I understand when people say
stress.
The kids didn't grow up in your house, you gotta train them. For me, that kind of cringes me a little bit.
Why so?
Because
why?
You train a dog, you train a monkey.
Well, kids act like them too. Yeah, you have to do them the same way. Yeah, been my experience.
My thing is, we're not into training. We're into being the example.
Okay.
It's teaching.
Kids,
you want to use the word teach?
And Di, you give a lot of love. That I know. And you
I do. Yes, I do.
And you always lead by example. But
yes, I do.
Not just you. See, that's what I also feel like it's our obligation is the kids is watching wherever we are. And the kids is watching everyone else. So in the house, if their example is, this is my stability, this is my hero, this is who I'm following, that's doing the right thing, doing the other thing to see out there that's negative, it may be enticing, but in the back of their mind, what do they do when they get in trouble? They always call who's right. Hey, Diane, I'm in trouble because guess what?
Yes, that's true.
Diane is gonna give them the right,
Sure.
She gonna give them a little bit of last year, but she gonna give them the right stuff, baby.
Okay, but listen, this is my thing about it, right? So yes, But that is still training. It's training
It's
by
not
example. It
training.
is. You're teaching them. You're raising them in the way.
Okay,
You're
now
showing them.
raising them.
You're raising them and showing them.
They're training.
And you showing them
I read a philosophy book, and it was
semantics, my dear.
Yes, my
and
dear.
you mad about tomato.
That's what I'm about to say. Come on now.
Look, lady. Look, lady.
It's the same
I
thing.
know Pike ain't here today.
Oh Lord.
Ain't nobody worried about Pike.
Speaking of which, everybody pray for
right
Pike
there.
because he's not doing so good today. He was having dizzy spells.
I know how to
So
called him, he
pray
didn't
for
answer
him. Pray for him.
Yeah, I called, he didn't answer. But no,
But
what
the
I'm
thing-
saying,
the-
okay, but listen, James, what I'm saying is this here. What I'm saying is, yes, I have always led by a good example, and I've always had all the kids always like tours. When she was in the 8th grade, she wrote they told her to write something about, your Black hero or whatever the case may be. So she chose Harriet Tubman, but she didn't use Harriet Tubman name. She used my name. So I do my part, but you got to remember, I'm still one person, and this one person can get tired when it's a lot of other people.
And it is a stressful situation, and I'm sure one of the reasons why it is stressful is because it was kind of thrust upon you.
Right.
It was kind of put upon you as opposed to you choosing
right
to take care of this or to take care of these children. They were kind of dumped in your lap due to tragic circumstances.
Yes.
And
so
so
it was
that matters.
Yeah. It was a catch-22. It was supposed to went this way, but it ended up going this way. You know what I'm saying? But
no.
But how so it's like, okay,
Tony
so
said
now
no. Tony said no. Wait.
Tony
said no about something.
What happened?
What happened?
It's supposed to go no way except for the way that it went.
Okay.
True that.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
We gotta acknowledge that's the truth, right?
Okay. It's the truth.
Right.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, do what? Who what? Go pick up who, baby? What? No, I'm not going to pick up no baby. I'm about to move. I'm about to leave. I got a plan.
And so did you die? You had a plan too.
Yes, I did. I had just left Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I came out here. I was happy-go-lucky. I wasn't working. I was doing good. I was taking trips. I was going all over the place. I was enjoying my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was having a good time.
You got a purpose for it. You was flying off to see your parents with no purpose. He gave you a purpose. Now,
so now that's Diane.
Excuse me, sir. I was not flying off to see my parents without a purpose. I have worked plenty of years to fly off to see my parents when I feel like it.
Chandelier, that was her purpose.
Yeah. I worked long enough to do as I please.
There's a difference.
No.
Semantics.
So listen. God. Help me, y'all. So I want somebody else. Tell me what else. Somebody else. Tell me what stresses you out. Anybody, jump in. What stresses you out? So nobody around here,
incompetence.
Okay. That is one.
Incompetence.
Yes.
Competent person usually don't know they're incompetent, or even if they do, then they try to hide it.
Yeah, they try to fake the phone.
It's the way, I don't know, just the incompetent, the level of incompetency, again, go back 20 years, 30 years, and to see how people behave with customer service.
Ooh, is there such a thing as customer service these days?
No.
I'm almost afraid to even make a phone call. The first thing I do is look for the website, because I will whoop your ass with me. Because to sit and to have to talk with some of these people who are, being underpaid even more now. So with the level of incompetence, it's maddening to me. The incompetence, it dissects every aspect of your life when you're dealing, the way people are driving today, the just driving down the street. Now you got the fools who want to go in the bike lane, so they can swoop and get in front of traffic and causing accidents, and but just the level of,
well, and the mere fact that people are not concerned, when you mention customer service and different things, people are not caring about what other people think or feel, even when it comes to their money. They're just not doing that. But it makes me think, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like in a few years, as few as 5 to 10, when you consider that in Texas, the Houston Independent School District just dismantled all of their libraries in their schools and replaced them with discipline centers.
Wow.
They did what?
Replaced the libraries with discipline centers. So what that means is if a child is seen to be disrupting the class, they're going to be sent to this discipline center where they have
what?
computers and stuff, and they're going to have to learn in groups, or they're going to have to learn remotely. Translation,
Wow.
they're not going to educate them.
Exactly.
There's not going to be any wonder who's going to wind up in the discipline center. It is another school to prison pipeline that they're setting up.
Mhm.
But keep in mind what we have now when we see the level of incompetence and the inability to hire good people. They weren't even that far behind in education in that way. At least they were trying to pay lip service to educating students. Now, public education, they're not trying to educate people in this country with basic skills. So when we talk about incompetence now, Tony, expected to get way worse in 10, 15 years, it is going to be horrible. Somebody else, things that stress you out.
No, okay. Stress, life is full of stress.
Yes, it
Life
is, sir.
is full of good things. But stress is something, I guess most people, they can't control something and they get stressed out because they have no control over a certain situation.
Yeah.
I went to prison, I didn't know what stress was. It got to the point that one day tears just started coming out of my eyes. I didn't know what the hell was going on with me at the time until I went to prison. And 25 years later in prison, I started doing groups. I said, oh, that was stress because my life was out of control. I didn't have no control over my life. But once I learned how to recognize stress, to recognize things that I have no control over it, to let it go, it's like, now my mind became at peace. I was like, oh shit, I ain't gonna let this stress me out. I ain't gonna let this person stress me out because I allow that stress to happen. Life, other people don't stress me out. It's the things I allow to stress me out. I allow it to get to me. And so therefore I let it go. I said, okay, I ain't gonna let this bother me. I'm supposed to move on and do something else better or more positive. That to me will cause the stress when you try to control something you have no control over.
And that is so true.
Yeah, your kids can stress you out because they don't listen. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I wouldn't listen to my kids either. And so therefore, if I ain't listening to them, they're not gonna listen to me. It's like the communication. Once I learned how to communicate with my kids and talk to my kids in the language they understand, then they're willing to open up and share and willing to listen to me. That goes with the people in the community, the younger guys in the community, the girls in the community. Once I listen, they see me listening to them, what they have to say to me, then they start listening to me because now they say, oh, this person cares, this person is hearing what I have to say. And so now they're going to hear what I have to say because it's like that lack of that big brother or whatever, big sister or a father figure or whatever kind of figure, uncle figure. They like, oh, I got someone who will listen to me, even if I'm wrong. They're gonna listen to me, and there you could communicate with these people more better once you start listening to them. You might not like what you hear from them. You might not like a damn thing that come out their mouth.
True.
But they want to be heard first. But then you can
things that you said that are really important. One is that I've learned through the years, which is if I cannot control it, I got to release it. I've learned that if I don't have anything in my arsenal, in my toolbox that I can use to fight or to make the situation better or to fix it or any of those things, then it's not my fight. It's not for me to fight. So what I have to do is I have to release those things. That way it minimizes my stress. Oftentimes I'm subjected in my position to other people's frustrations just because I'm in the position I'm in. I've had to learn to not take that personal and not let those things stress me out. Otherwise, I would be stressed all the time, because the nature of my job, the biggest portion of my job is managing property. Well, property management is really people management. The property is easy to manage. It's the people that are the issue. And when you're dealing with people whose the roof over their head is the conversation you're having, they started at level 5. There is no 0 to 5 with that. There's always 5 to 10. So I have had to learn to disassociate in those instances and only deal with those things that I can handle. And so knowing the difference between what I can handle, what is my responsibility, what's on my plate has been huge in me reducing and keeping the level of stress down. So that is a very important point. If you look at a circumstance and there's nothing you can do to make it better, if you cause the situation, how can you fix it? If the answer to that, there's nothing, then there's nothing you could do about it. Stressing about it is not going to make it any better. It's not going to change the situation. All it does is add to your uncomfortable feeling, and then it just adds more on top of the plate. So,
but you gotta ask yourself. You gotta ask yourself first. You talking about no need for stressing over it, but once you stress, you don't. I guess some people don't know they're stressing, but you gotta ask yourself, why do I feel this way? And once you question that, because this person said this to me, or this person want to do that, you say, wait a minute, I can't let this person control me or give me this feeling, this fucked up feeling of worry or stress or being hurt. That's what stress is. You ask yourself, what is stress? That emotional feeling that you get, something you can't control and stuff. You're like, no, I ain't gonna let this person control my thoughts, my mind, or my emotions, how I'm feeling. I'm supposed to let that go. I come back to that another time. It might be my fight, but right now I'm not ready to handle that. Let me go kick back, relax, and think about it to myself. Then maybe I can figure out a way to get around it, or go over it, or go up under it. But it could be my fight because it's like, I might want to do something to help the situation be better. Because if I see something wrong and it's on my mind, always on my mind, even though it ain't got nothing to do with me, it's my fight because it's bothering me.
But this is the thing. This is where I wanna, there's a nuance to what you said, and I wanna make sure that we're real clear for people listening, because you can have a desire to affect the situation and a desire to help it. But if you don't have the tools or anything in your arsenal to be able to do that, is where I decide, oh, no, it's nothing for me to do. All I could do at that point is what I can do, right? So you do what you can, and oftentimes in those situations is where the stress will come in, like you say, because you can't control the situation. So it may become stressful because you want to fix it, you want to help the situation, but you really don't have nothing in that will allow you to do that, and that in and of itself.
You don't have the tools. You don't have the tools to deal with the
tools, right? Yes.
Yeah, you can go someplace. You go someone else and ask a question. Hey, I'm faced with this situation. Could you help me? And then that person give you the tools. Then now you maybe could go back.
Now you may be able to
prepared to deal with it.
Yes.
You know, it's like these badass kids. Like, what the hell wrong with these kids? So you ask somebody, hey, another youngster probably tell you, oh, this person is going through this, or it's called a family this, or being traumatized this way. That's why this kid is acting out. We don't know until we start asking questions and getting the tools to deal with certain situations. Because some people out there, like the young man came in last week and stuff, have mental shit going on. And we think it's something else. We think this kid is being rude when this kid got some mental shit going on in his head. And he's just looking for some attention, looking for help. But we thinking he's being negative towards us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we gotta look at life differently. That's what we won't stress.
Right. Good.
The thing also is this, when I deal with people, because I don't like people, period. I tolerate, I know I gotta be around people, but I don't like them. So my thing is no expectations, no disappointments. If I don't expect you to act a certain way, be a certain way, or think a certain way, then you won't disappoint me being you as a human being and me being a human being. A lot of times I don't talk. I may say hi, but I don't really talk. But being cordial is one thing. I'm always taught by my grandparents to be cordial, but I don't have to let you into my circle. So when I go into situations that get a little too overbearing to me, a lot of times I step back out of it. And I step back and I count, take that quick 10 count, and then I go back to what I was doing. Because in 10 seconds, they're gonna realize that that wasn't for me, that conversation or that situation. But then when it keeps egging me on, I got two choices, fight or flight. I'd rather flight to keep myself from going back to the pen. And the other thing is I get to see another day on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's my mentality now. It's not about my ego being tested, because nobody can test my ego but me. My thing is, me as a human being and me as a man, I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna be comfortable, and I'm gonna move in the most productive way there is to move. And the stressful side of that is that lowers my stress factor. It really, really gets hands on the reins on my stress factor as to the way that I have to control it. I go back and analyze what could I have done different in that situation, because I like to keep an A and B on my situation, because not every one thing works for every situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why you guys, just like myself, I did 26 and a half years. When I got out, just buying a bag of chips was stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I told you, I was going to the store, buying toothpaste, deodorant, and a bag of chips. I broke down in the chip aisle because I didn't know what my taste buds were. That was stressful. That stress created anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did was I went to Friends Outside, and my doctor over at St. John's, they hooked me up with a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you don't need a psychiatrist, you don't need pills. You need a psychologist, somebody that you can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been having that same psychologist for the last 3 years. And we keep our thing going because I find it more helpful on the street than it was in a pen. In a pen, they were just coming to get their little tools and fuels and bank up out of there. But on the street, these psychologists actually works with us, and they understand, and they're there for us. They're not against us. They're not trying to put us back in the pen. They're not gonna call your parole officer. They're not gonna tell the captain the AOD at the parole office on you. They're there to assist you into being a productive citizen.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, we as men always, that stigma, we don't need no doctor unless we're dead. You ain't gonna see a psychiatrist, makes you crazy.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of times is you're smart enough to talk your situation through. So the best thing I tell anybody is getting out, fresh out, go get you a psychologist, somebody that don't know you, that don't have judgment on you. Because family, girlfriends, wives, kids, they all have expectations and judgments.
Mm-hmm.
Psychologists don't. They don't know you A from Adam. So they're there to assist you, because most people get in psychology is into the passion of the mind. And a lot of times that passion is what's gonna help you grow. It's gonna help you move. You know, just like this podcast, this room that we have to heal in. We're doing psychology work, all of us, with each other. That's why it's important for you guys to talk to us as well as we talk to y'all, because even though I've been out 3 years, I still need help. And you guys give me a lot to think about when I leave here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's mind, we bring minds together.
That we are.
Hey, James.
That's the truth.
James, can
Yeah.
I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. James?
Yeah.
One thing I was going to ask you, but you can answer it for me, because this group is like psychiatry, because we do share and we talk to one another. And with that psychiatrist, by us sharing with this person, like you said, we already know the answer to our situation, our problem, and stuff like that. But the question I want to ask you, when you went into that store and you said you got stressed because buying a bag of chips, so I want to ask you, what did stress you out? Was it the feeling of fear, the buying this chip, or what was it that stressed you out inside that store to buy that chip?
I didn't know what I liked. Because we remember in the pen, we only had what? Granny Goose, barbecue, sour cream, and nacho chips.
Oh.
That was it. So when I came out,
so your own emotions was
Walmart,
had you stressing your thought of what you wanted.
The multitude of chips that was offered to me, and not knowing what I liked.
Yeah.
That was stressful, and it caused me a very bad anxiety.
Okay.
And the deodorant,
toothpaste.
Wait,
he had me dying. Wait, Lionel. One day he was saying, he said, look, we had whatever that brand was for the indigent people in Crest. That was the choices. It wasn't nothing else. He said, now go there. They got all these different varieties. It was just, it was sensory overload. It's too much going on at one time, too many things to choose from, all of those things. And it's like, oh my gosh, what is this? So it produced an anxiety attack. And I will tell you that I've had multiple people come home, tell me the same thing, that all of those choices is just too much. It's another reason why I'm not a big advocate anymore of the welcome home party.
See what James was just talking about, as far as the different things to choose from. I go through that still today, but I let the people know. You said, you want some of this, you want some of that, I said, I didn't never taste this shit before in my life. How in the hell I know what I want when I ain't never tasted this shit before? Or you want to go to this place, you want to go. I never been to these places. You forget where I just came from all these years. So I let them put them inside my world where I just came from, because I'm into a new world. All this stuff is new to me. Just like James was saying, he went in there and see all the variety of chips and like kind of freaked out. I know, so I'm just clowning with the freaking out, but you know.
He was freaking out. Oh no, he was freaking out. Look,
I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I literally cried. Different variety.
Like anxiety attack. I want them all.
I was like, what does that taste like? What does that taste like? What does that, am I gonna like this? Why am I buying this? And my mind just was like, that little rapper, that little rap was on the hamster wheel. He was moving, you know.
And you couldn't keep up.
I couldn't keep up. And I just literally started crying. Yeah. My ex-wife was with me. Yeah. And she looked at me and she just held me. And then this lady, about this toothpaste, it was an older lady that came up and gave me a hug. And
see, that's what you need. We need that hug.
It kind of slowed me down because I was gone.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. And it created anxiety to the point to where I almost couldn't breathe.
Wow.
And when she gave you that hug, what happened? How you feel when she gave you that hug?
When she gave me that hug, it slowed me down.
Relaxed you, huh?
Yeah. I knew it was genuine.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to cost me anything.
Yeah.
I didn't have to taste nothing. So I just held on like dear life, like as if I was thrown out of a boat and I'm holding on to the buoy.
Yeah.
Buoy in the water, you know. Yeah. I'm holding on to this lady, you know. And
that hug feel good when it's genuine, though. When you get somebody
it feels great. It was like God knew that I needed that when I needed it, because my ex-wife was going through it because she didn't understand. You know what I mean? She like, boy, you know what you like. You eat these chips all the time. But after 26 years,
you know how long ago that was?
I've been subjected to food that's not for human consumption.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's so true.
You've been subjected to food that causes man boobs.
Yeah.
You've been subjected to stuff that give you prostate. I had prostate cancer in the pen. So we're subjected to trial and error.
We was laboratory rats in the pen.
Right. That's what I said, trial and error.
Yeah,
So,
we laboratory that.
if too many people caught cancer, okay, we're gonna take this off the menu to be bought for the prisons.
Right.
We're gonna get some more of this. You know, and
Yeah.
a lot of food, they'll get 1% or say a meal 100%, 10% beef, 90% is soy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or is some kind of freeze dry, something that they're supposed to feed the animals.
Uh-huh.
But they giving it to us, and on the bag, literally on the bag at the bottom, because I used to be a lead cook, is not for human consumption.
And then the mere fact that wasn't it you, Shirley, told us that the Supreme Court ruled that was constitutional, it wasn't inhumane.
No.
It was because somebody was telling us with the food that they gave them where they mixed all the stuff together, and whatever the leftover foods were, they gave it to people.
Juju beans. They
Huh?
call it juju beans when they mix all the leftovers together.
The
and
juke
give it to
ball.
the guys in
Juke
the street at
ball.
home.
The juke ball. That's what it was.
Yeah, there you go.
And
There
the
you
juke
go.
ball, and they said that it wasn't inhumane for them to do that as punishment. And I'm sure that's a lot of that stuff that you're talking about. And the fact,
Cruel and unusual punishment.
right. Yes, they need, yes. In our prison system, yes. In the United States, just taking away your freedom ain't enough for them. They need to be cruel and inhumane. And, it's interesting to me, just on a side note right now, that when I hear the people talk about the people from January 6th, they getting these terrible sentences. First of all, only a few people got real harsh sentences, number one. Like 18, 22, those are some sentences. These 6 months and all, this is nothing. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this, don't y'all try that at home. Don't y'all try to do what they did.
You know what they said about that, right?
What?
They said, all them, and excuse my language if I offend anybody, but this is what I heard. They said it was a bunch of white guys.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't too many shots fired.
Okay.
They said it was the black folks. We wouldn't have made it across the grass.
No, the first bike rack that was disturbed, they'd have come out shoot. First of all, given the circumstances, they would never have had the security that lax.
And they knew they was coming.
Exactly. Well, because Trump expected them to come, he incited it. You see what I'm saying? He incited it, so he invited them to come. And so that, heck, the girl even testified. He was saying, haven't removed the metal detectors. They're not coming to hurt me. So anyway, because one of the things, I never forget when it first happened, there was this guy, he was a former Capitol Police officer. He was retired. And he was saying, when he looked at the scene, the first thing that struck him was, where's the perimeter?
Yeah.
He was like, where is the perimeter? Wait a minute. Well, he said, because of the fact that there was going to be the vice president, the speaker of the house, like all of those people in one location, the protocol was automatically to extend the perimeter and have officers out on the perimeter. So he was trying to figure out from his experience, where was everybody? But when you left them, you intended for them not to be able to respond. That's what it is. But to me, it's funny. They talk about how bad the jail is in Georgia, in Fulton County, right? They done had 4 or 5 inmates die in Fulton County. Nobody care nothing about that. So what? Forget about them. But now they go down there and Trump and them have to go in there. Oh my God. Oh, they're just being treated so harsh. They have to take a mugshot. Do y'all know that this is what y'all do every day to people? I don't understand how all of a sudden y'all think it's okay for other people, but not for y'all? Really? Talk about stress, that'll stress you out. Now, okay, I ain't heard nobody say that stressed y'all asses out about going back to prison. Ain't none of y'all mention that. Y'all don't want to go in there and strip and squat and all that. Y'all don't want to do that again?
No.
Y'all not stressed out about that?
That's the farthest thing from our mind. We're not going back to prison. That's why we ain't doing it.
I heard that, Lionel.
We got some good right by ourselves.
That ain't even on the menu.
We got some good right
That's
by
right. What you said?
ourselves.
We're gonna talk about life stress. We ain't talking about penitentiary stress. I heard that.
But
that's
my
right.
thing, what I tripped off from was, now you want to complain about the prison. But what it was he thought that because he was president, he was going to be like, what was the boy named Noriega that built his own prison, imprison himself? He thought he was going to be able to imprison himself house arrest.
Like El Chapo. That was El Chapo.
El Chapo's still writing writs they say El Chapo's writing writs to get daylight.
Wow.
To
Well,
get sunlight.
And listen, you know, again, stress is the kind of thing. I think something else you said that was important too, Lionel, which is us even knowing that we're stressed.
Yeah.
Even knowing that that's what it is. Being able to identify it as stress. Because then once you understand that there is such a thing as stress and what it feels like in your body, because everybody's stress is going to feel, their bodies respond differently, right? So once you identify what that is, now the question becomes, what do you do with that? Now, I will tell you, my habit is to eat. Bad habit.
Oh, yeah.
Bad. But I am, you love that habit, James. That's why we look like we look.
Yeah.
Look. So the stress is, I definitely eat when I'm stress triggered. That is a thing. But I have learned through the years to manage stress that very few things actually even rise to the level anymore. There are circumstances like on my job where I may have one Friday, I had pipes burst in the basement or in the garage of 2 separate facilities. Okay, just by nature of the logistics of trying to get everybody everywhere and stop the water from running is a level of stress, right? But that's not the kind of stuff that will make me eat. It's the stress involved with my family, where I have to evict my brother from his housing, and you know, and all that kind of stuff causes me to eat. I think there's emotion, ding, 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 notion. Oh, that's a revelation for me. See, this is why I like talking to y'all, because I learned stuff about myself.
Emotional stress.
It is emotion attached to not wanting to evict my brother, even though I had to. So that is the thing. It's like, you got to do the right thing, but I really don't want to. And so that's the emotion attached to it, which is why that versus the 2 burst pipes felt different for me.
Well, one you got to remember was attached to you personally.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is not attached, it's just professional.
Yeah. But I've had to learn to separate those two. Let me tell you something. When I first started, years and years ago, when I first started managing, I would be stressed out because the elevator in the building went out. I never forget it. This is when I had to talk to myself. The elevator went out. It was on a Friday. It was already like 3:30. So my concern was it was too expensive to keep calling the elevator company for overtime, because their rates are ridiculous, and they some gangsters for real. Elevator companies, ooh, I gotta tell y'all about them. But anyway, they some G's, okay, while the rest of us playing. But I called the elevator company and I kept thinking, okay, Noreen, well, what else can you do? Did you break the elevator? No. Can you fix the elevator? No. What can you do? You can call the people, but you already did that. Okay. Is there a separate elevator for you that the tenants can't use? No. That means I'm gonna have to walk the 2 flights of stairs just like they're gonna have to walk the 2 flights of stairs. So I had to talk myself out of being like this. Oh my God, they're gonna go the whole weekend. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? I was thinking about one tenant. In fact, the lady that this particular center is named after, Gwen Cannon, lived in the building. She's one of the founders of the organization. And she was a senior citizen. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Miss Cannon gonna have to walk the stairs. Well, guess what? So is Miss Noreen, right? What none you know, I might have been in my late 20s, early 30s, but I still had to walk the stairs too. So why, Noreen, would you stress about something you have no control over? That's what we talked about a minute ago, Lionel, right? If I can't, I've done everything I could do about it. Let me deal with the stress. Let me not stress about it. And I had to distance myself from work things that pose an issue versus things in my life. And it was just today that I realized, it's the emotion attached to the situation with my brother. It's the wanting, is loving him no matter what, and not being able to fix that in this circumstance. Me loving him and him being my brother is totally separate from what I have to do for the business side. I can't leave it like it is. I have to put him out. So, okay, dang. Okay, but that would make me eat because emotionally I'm sad. You know, I'm really sad.
Brother,
I'm sad, and I don't want him and my niece and her son homeless, and you know what I'm saying. But I don't have a choice, you know. So that may be the difference in when I eat and when I don't. Because when it's work, like I say, that the units that had, I mean, it just whatever.
what they tell you a long time ago in property management, the worst person to rent to is who? Family.
Family. Mm-hmm.
You don't do family. And that's something I had to explain to my cousin when I had my little property.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do family because when you sign a rental agreement, it's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to IRS and tell them my IRS I can't pay them because my tenant didn't pay for the last 2 or 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find a place, which you did.
Mm-hmm.
You found that place of separation between personal and emotional. Even though you don't want to see your brother, your niece, and his grandbaby out, but they should have honored the contract.
Absolutely. And yes, please come so they can see you, because and they're also probably not going to be able to hear you from that far back. So
It was about the stress. It seemed like, I mean, Lionel hit the nail on the head, and I feel the same way in terms of it's a lack of control. The things that we can't control stresses us out. Just like what you said. See, you took control by eating.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's something you can control. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And for me, once I've learned that,
I just want to make sure they can hear you.
yeah, once I learned that it's a lack of control. Having a lack of control of a situation is what stresses me out. You know, I still get it, but I catch myself. It's the tools that you talked about. I catch myself and say, wait a minute, what are you doing? You can't do nothing about this. So let's, LIG, or let's find a way to deal with this.
Yeah.
Let's come up with something.
Let it go.
Yeah. Or, let's find a way. Let's find a way to resolve this.
Yeah.
Or just
Let it be.
Right. Because I can't, I even do that with family members, like when I see that I can't do nothing about, hey, I'm gonna let this go.
Yeah, that's all I
I'm
can
gonna
do.
let it go, and don't make me a bad person, but I can't do nothing about this one.
Right.
So this is something that you got to deal with.
Yeah.
It's something that I know how to deal with this situation and me not being stressful, and that's it's stepping away from it. I got to get out of it because I can't fix this. I can't control it because I'm not gonna do nothing but stress myself out. You know what I mean? So what Lionel said is spot on. You know what I mean? And it seemed like the common denominator that when all you guys was talking, it kept in my mind coming back to, I can't control the situation.
And
just
that
like what you're
is
saying
what
with your-
brings the stress,
Like-
right? That is
Right.
it. You're exactly right.
And just like when you saying with your brother happened to put him out, now had you, just got firm and said and took control of that, like, look, man, we had like he said, we had a contract. You don't want to honor it. Bye. I'm not stressed over it,
Yeah.
but because I took a position and I took control of how I'm gonna deal with this, even though it's gonna bother me. But hey, I'm not gonna stress over this. You did that, not me. You know what I mean? So,
And you know what? And ultimately, that's where I had to go with it, was the fact that he chose not to pay the rent. I didn't, I didn't decline his rent for 2 months. He chose not to pay the rent. So he broke the contract. I can't, so from that standpoint, I was okay with it on that side. But then there's that part of me that's still his sister, that's still human, that still has those emotions, that still felt some type of way about it, because it's not really what I don't necessarily want to do those things. You see what I'm saying? I didn't want to. It's not what I wanted to do to have. There you go. I didn't want that to happen, but it is what it is,
You have to do the right thing. You did the right thing. So you happy with yourself. Because anybody else,
I sleep about it. But it
anybody
definitely
else
affected me because of the emotions attached to it,
because
the
you're
love
human.
that I
Because
have
you're
for him
human.
and them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're human. You got them emotions. So you can feel
Exactly.
good about yourself because you have a conscience. But at the same time, I did what I had to do. I did the right thing.
Well, I
Therefore,
have a job to do, right? So in order for me to be able to keep the roof over my head, I gotta do my job.
there you go. There you go.
And
To me.
in light of
Better
the fact
than
that he
me.
ain't paying the rent and he ain't got nowhere for me to go, I definitely
Yeah.
gotta do my job because I need to make sure I can pay the rent, the mortgage on my place to keep the roof over my head. Because y'all
Well, he got somewhere to go. He got somewhere to go. He go to your house, family.
he went. Let me tell you the tragedy. He went to my nephew's, and now I'm gonna have to put my nephew out.
Okay.
Well, yeah, they can come to your house.
Okay. Pineapples. Pineapples.
Yeah, my nephew is breaking the contract, having 4 people that ain't supposed to be living with him living there, and this is affordable housing. So all the bills and all we it's formulas that go into the stuff. We can't pay the bills expect with all these additional people. Just let people move people in. It's just a lot, but the point just being the emotion. So when it comes to dealing with stress, I want to do something. Let me move this over for a second. Because I have I want to talk this, oh gosh, let me see. Let me minimize this. Because I had it up. Maybe I closed it. Okay. I had a thing that I used to teach from. And it talked about the different ways that you can deal with stress. Let me see. Oh no. Huh? What you say, Tony? No, we don't want to know. We don't want to advocate what Tony just said.
What she say?
Well, no, we don't want to talk about what Tony just said.
Tony
But
had a one fix for all the
everything. Let me put it to you this: Tony's the hammer, and everything is a nail. Okay.
Gotcha.
And we not doing that. We're not doing that. So, okay, now I want you to tell me, and we're gonna do this in a hurry. I want to start with you, Robert. Tell me something you do to help you deal with stress. Figueroa. There you go.
Actually, I ignore a lot of stuff and hold off till I'm off shift.
You just ignore it, huh?
Well, here's the thing. I'm lined up with like 15 women in front of me. I'm the runner. So I have to fill all the ingredients as they use them so that they don't run out. Those lines cannot stop. So I have
What do
to
you
constantly.
do?
I'm a runner. I set up the lines at a production area for Amazon and Starbucks.
Oh.
So I'm like in a big refrigerator basically. So these ladies sometimes wait to the last minute to name the ingredient that they need, and it kind of like it puts me on the spot because they start yelling it. So once they start yelling, the supervisors start looking. So I have to run all the way from one side of the line to the other side of the line just to fill their ingredients. And the ones that do it a lot are the ones with the cheese or the hard boiled eggs. And also, this one lady with the apples, she likes to play games. So she has 2 bins full of apples, and she waits till one of them is halfway, empty, and she'll start yelling apples. But she's supposed to be using both sides. So a lot of times, what I do is I just let her keep yelling because she knows once the supervisor gets over there and sees what she's doing, the supervisor's going to get on her ass about it. So she gets quiet. So
Let her
what I
hang
do,
herself, huh?
yeah. So what
No
I do
sense
is
in you
that,
stressing about it.
well, here's the thing. There's other ones that do similar stuff, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's just they yell at you like you're an animal and you're not. So some of them, I did start acting out like one would yell out for the eggs, and I mean they'll yell, and they shouldn't be doing that. It's like they're treating you like an animal. So I just start throwing the eggs. I figured they need them that bad. Here, I slam the eggs, and a lot of them will bounce on the person that's serving them. But one time, it wasn't the lady that was serving the eggs that was yelling eggs. It was another lady that's got a mouth on her. These ladies are like 50 and 60 something years old. They should know better. So I slammed the eggs, and they hit the girl that was serving the eggs, and she's kind of new, and she's really nice. When I seen who it was, I was like, oh man. So you better believe I was nice to her the entire day. But the lady that yelled out eggs, she shut her mouth for the rest of the day as well.
Mm.
She knows that I did that because of her. And the girl that was serving the eggs also knew. I apologized later. I explained the situation. She understands because she knows a lot of them play games. So a lot of the younger ones are pretty. They're pretty calm. They're mellow. You know, they know how to act. It's just like two bad apples, and they try to instigate.
So a lot of the way you handle your stress, the stress of it is to kind of just ignore it and let it go.
I ignore it for a while, and then I relax after work.
Okay.
That's where the sleep comes in. That's where the music comes in. You know, that's where the relaxation comes in. Yeah. Once I get my shower, it's kickback time.
Wonderful. That is a good thing, right? To be able to relax. You know, just take some time for yourself. Music is a good one. You know, in most situations, listening to music, doing something that's fun, reading a book. One of my favorites, taking a bath, soaking in the you know, that soak. I love a good soak with some candles and you know, so that's always a good thing. But anything that will relax you. So another thing that people do that helps is exercise.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, when I remember there was a young lady that I had to fire that had worked for me for like almost about 10 years. And she was really like she's like a daughter to me. And I found out she did some things and it really broke my heart, but it made me mad too. So I went home and I got in what Pike would call my big bathtub. It's my pool. And I got in there and I started swimming and I swam for about an hour. And I was like, okay, you can get out. You can get out. And then I turned around and got to the steps and got mad all over. I said, oh, no, bitch, turn around. You better go back and do another half hour because I was still mad. But then once I got finished with that extra half hour, I was good. But initially it was like, okay. So that's another thing that I did that actually helped me is to swim. I work out a lot of problems in the water, just to swim and what's the solution or whatever. That a lot of that comes to me in the water. So exercise is a good thing. Mr. Hall, talk to me. Tell me what you do to relieve stress.
First, I want to ask you about that affordable housing that you got going on. What's up with that?
It's cracking. What's happening? You ain't
I'm trying to get plugged up.
Don't scare me.
I'm trying to get plugged up.
Okay. So it goes by family size and income. So we're gonna have to have a conversation offline. And do you have his phone number? Okay. I'm gonna get your number from Rufus, okay?
All right.
Call you, okay?
Yeah.
I have to call you twice though.
You won't.
Okay. But now, stress.
On the stress, well, for me, I like to exercise, listen to music, and one of the best things that I do, like Lionel was saying, a lot of stuff you just can't control. So I just basically give it to God. That's what I say. Give it to God, and because there's nothing I can do about it. It's out of my hands. You know.
And you stress it ain't gonna fix it, huh?
I understand what you're saying too about the emotional part, because usually that has to deal with either a spouse or a girl you messing with, or your family members, your homies, or something, because you have a connection to them. So those are the people that can get you to come out of your character.
Yes, they can. When you don't want to.
Exactly.
You don't want to come out of it. But you know, one of the reasons why we do this group like this and why I like people to have access to it is because somebody somewhere doesn't know how to deal with stress. They have no idea even that there's things you need to let go, right? Conversation, it may be something we talk about regularly or, you know, things we've learned, but a lot of people don't get the benefit of that. So thank you for that. Oscar, what about you? How do you deal with stress? Are you unmuted? You got to unmute for me. Can you see it to unmute? Okay, there you go.
Okay, now?
Got it.
All right. Depending situation, sometimes I have a situation like people, they don't like to take responsibility. They stress me out. They don't like to be honest, you know, they lie too much. but I had to avoid those people because nothing I can do, I cannot change those people, just be patient and avoid those people. And my situation right now is really stressful because of the migration. I had to take 2 groups immigration. I had to be home. They come and check me once a week. I had to be home. When they come and check me, I had to be home. When they call me, I had to visit them every 2 weeks. Plus my parole officer in my criminal case visit me every 2 weeks. I had to be home. Another word, I feel stressful because I cannot work, because immigration stop all my documentation. I cannot get work permit. I cannot get driver license. I just work 1 day a week in a house. They pay me 150. I cannot even send money to my country because I don't have no identification. All those things is stress. I try to ignore a lot of stuff. I try to calm down, relax, not pay attention to a lot of stuff. But you're right. I like to eat a lot. And after that, I like to listen music to relax myself. Sometimes I lay down, I take my nap. Later, when I wake up, I feel better.
Nothing like a nap. I love me a good nap. I got a good one yesterday too. I had a good nap yesterday, y'all. I slept from about 4 to about 7 something. Oh, it was wonderful. It was just wonderful. Laying in front of the TV with the fan on, supposed to be watching TV, looked up, it was watching me. They are the best naps ever. Miss Di, how do you deal with stress?
Listen music. I like to listen music a lot. Music relaxes a lot.
Thank you. Miss Diane.
Normally, I would sit in the tub for about an hour and a half. But lately, if I get too aggravated, I just take a nap.
Okay.
Let's take a nap.
That's it. So what do you do with stress?
I actually don't look at stress.
So you avoid, how do you, I mean, it comes up. So what do you do when it comes? Because it's got to come to you.
It comes, but it's
what do you do with it?
So that's probably, but I try not to do things
that are in a stressful way.
Yeah, in a stressful way, but there are some things that actually sit still, like the Bible says, be still and know. So
yeah. What about you, Rufus? What do you do for stress?
In the moment, positive self-talk, or try to talk myself out of it. That's what I do, or try to recognize that I am stressful, and whatever that issue is, I try to address that issue.
Yeah.
But to head it off, I exercise. So that gives me, that going in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Miss? Other than what you were suggesting earlier.
Actually, today, I have blackout. So I sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. What about you, James?
Stress.
What you do with it?
I try to avoid it, but a lot of times I go for a walk. Go for a drive. I love the ocean. Ocean is eternity, so I let my thoughts sit on the wave, and the way it goes out is the way that stress goes.
That's awesome. And so I'm sorry. So for me, like I said, a lot of the things: exercise, swim, listen to music, take a nap. There were times where things were so bad that literally that's all I could do was sleep to get away from the stress and the hurt and the pain and different things. And so those things became my best friend. And so I just want to say to everybody, manage it, because
I didn't say nothing, Noreen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now you acting like Pike. I'm sorry.
You just stressed me out.
I told everybody but you, Lionel. Please,
you
Lionel.
just stressed me out. Oh God. So
my bad. Go ahead, Lionel. What you do for baby?
The stress. See, this is what happened to me at work the other day. A guy came up to me and he said, "I'm the only person of my color there." So he said to me, "I'm the only one, don't speak Spanish." He said, "Hey man, you need to learn how to speak Spanish." I took a deep breath, blew it out, relaxed, and started thinking positive thoughts. I said, "No, I need to learn how to speak my language of my people from Africa." I said, "We got millions of different language over there, Swahili and all these other different languages. I need to learn myself." And I looked at him in a way like he didn't know any better. I didn't get mad at him. I was mad at first until I took that deep breath. That deep breath helps relaxing me. I release, I breathe in at that moment, I breathe in, I let it out, and I had that positive thought. My positive thought was, I do need to learn the language, my own language of my people. And so that threw him off because he thought I was going to come at him in a harsh way by saying that, or he didn't know what the hell he was saying or who in the hell he was talking to. But I'm like, yeah, I need to learn the language of my people. And it's like, your people, like, I tell myself, I'm not trying to listen to what you dudes talking about. I'm here to do a job. I ain't trying to make friends here. I'm here to work. And that's it. What you dudes talk about, that's on y'all. And he looked at me the next day, it was a whole different conversation because it's like, he saw that I wasn't there trying to fit into their world. I was trying to do my job.
And
but
he also couldn't disturb you. He couldn't disturb your peace either.
Oh, he did for a quick second because I wanted to just give him a full load of it. But I had to take that deep breath, think positive because I didn't want to get fired, and brought it back in. Then I talked to him in a soft way, like over. I was like, motherfucker, what the fuck you mean? You know, but I was like, no. I was like, let me get control of my situation because I know who I am. I know how I react, explosive and stuff. So I like, bring it back in, don't snap on. And it was a little smile on my face within because it's like, I said, I got it. I had the situation under control by using the tools of relaxing, positive thinking, then the positive, like, thoughts and actions, and how I explained it to him. It threw him off. But yeah, I exercise a lot when I stress out every day just about, but by me exercising, I found out it was putting more anger into that stress. Like, I want to bust this motherfucker head wide open because I do exercise, weights, punching bags, and stuff like that. But at the same time, I realized I had to breathe and relax and think positive thought of making the situation better. How can I get past these situations without in a violent way? Because I don't want to go back to prison. All right, by putting hands on somebody, I might tell them.
All you guys, and I'm hoping that people that are listening, and anybody goes back and watches these or whatever, that you take some tools, because see, it's not just about us coming together talking. It's about us helping each other with tools and information that could be useful, because all of us have suffered something as a result of either being incarcerated or having somebody in our lives incarcerated and removed from our lives. And there are scars. And so we're fortunate here because we have each other in a collective and we can come together. But there are a lot of people that we don't see that don't have the benefit of that. And every time you offer something that helps, that has helped you, and somebody else can get that, it can help them too. And ultimately for us here, that's what the goal of Free to Heal is literally for us to heal. So I just want to say thank you guys for joining us this week. We will not have group next week. I have an event to go to, but I just want to let everybody know we will see you in 2 weeks. And this has been Free to Heal. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, X, which was Twitter, Facebook, any of the social media sites. Check us out. Leave comments, any topics you want us to talk about, please leave them in the comments, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Love